Welcome to Asian Horizon and part 2 of the China-Iran Economic Corridor. Today I'm going to focus on examining and explaining the geopolitical implications of this historic landmark strategic agreement reached by China and Iran and signed in Tehran on Saturday, March 27th, just over a week ago. So this is going to be a game changer in the China-Iran relationship and in Middle Eastern affairs and the wider regional global affairs as well. This makes Iran's negotiating position much stronger when they go into negotiations with the JCPOA partners in Vienna tomorrow to discuss negotiations and issues around JCPOA and potentially the lifting of sanctions. Iran also knows that even if the US re-enters JCPOA now during the Biden administration, if the next president in the US becomes a Republican president, Iran knows that the US may withdraw again, and Iran also knows that European companies, because of their close links with US companies and the US financial system, probably then also will need to withdraw from any potential agreements or negotiations with Iranian companies. So Iran knows that JCPOA, while it may come into play again now during the Biden administration, remains very unstable potentially if the next president in the US is a Republican president. So whatever happens with JCPOA, we'll just have to see how it goes during the Biden administration, and if the US re-enters, okay, that may happen. But again, the next presidential election in the US may also impact JCPOA because we know Republican senators and Republican Congress officials in the US are very strongly against any JCPOA agreement coming into play again with US participation. So that remains to be seen. For Saudi Arabia, this China strategic agreement with Iran is an important game changer as well. Before Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi came to Iran, he was in Saudi Arabia and met with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. They had various talks on various issues, and I think Riyadh now going forward, because also of the US sanction imposed on various Saudi officials, is going to try to look more and more towards China to strengthen trade relations with China. Whether we will see any terms of a stronger agreement or strategic agreement with China and Saudi Arabia, that remains to be seen. But I definitely think that Saudi Arabia wants to strengthen relations with China to really kind of spread and differentiate its strategic landscape. Saudi Arabia has been relying very much on the US, but now with the Biden administration coming in and the release of the intelligence report on the Khashoggi killings, that as well was, I think, a game changer for how the Saudi viewed the US relationship. So going forward, I think it's going to be important for Saudi Arabia to really differentiate its relations much stronger and broaden its trade relations. In addition, a few days ago, the Iraqi Prime Minister Al-Khadimi was in Riyadh and had meetings with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and they were discussing also, I think, strengthening trade relations and various other parts of the relationship. But for Saudi Arabia, it's going to be important as well to think how they can, increase their infrastructure connections with other countries. Now, building NEOM, in the northern eastern region, that's going to be important because I think they also want to, they have been talking about building a bridge, to Egypt. And I think that, in the future, is going to be important for Saudi Arabia as well, because they really need to strengthen and broaden their infrastructure connections with other countries. The war in Yemen continuing. Now, there have been, various reports, although conflicting, about potentially Turkey getting involved as well. Maybe a potential rapprochement between Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Maybe some Turkish involvement in the war in Yemen. That remains to be seen. But regardless, Turkey is a very important country as well. And for Turkey, the agreement between China and Iran is very interesting. However, Turkey already has a functioning relationship with China. It's also increasing its investments and trade relationship with China as well. So going forward, I think Turkey is also going to strengthen its trade links and corridor to China. There is also already a train running from China all the way to to Istanbul and onwards in Turkey. So you can say there already is a China-Turkey economic corridor, but that potentially is also much stronger. So I think we're going to see much more of that is going forward as well. And the Turkey, corridor with China goes through the middle corridor from China across Kazakhstan and then across the Caspian Sea into Azerbaijan, Georgia, and into Turkey. So, these are some of the very strategic links across the, broader Asian region. But regarding Saudi Arabia, they are now rethinking, I think, and recalibrating their strategic thinking. Turkey is going to strengthen relations to China going forward. But for Iran, this strategic agreement with China is very interesting because, just a few days ago, some members in the Iranian parliament in Tehran were saying maybe we should also, have a similar agreement with Russia. So it's very potential that Iran and Russia now may start, long-term strategic negotiations on a potential broader strategic agreement. And that could also open up, infrastructure corridors from Russia to Iran, and that would really be a game changer in the wider Asian region. In addition, before Wang Yi flew to the Middle East and met, and signed an agreement with Iran, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov was in Beijing on March 23rd when he met with Chinese, Foreign Minister Wang Yi. And they had then discussions also about the international financial system and the national payment system. And I think there are now increasing voices in the region, particularly, in China and Russia, because of US and European sanctions, that they need to, move away from the dollar as the reserve currency and as the payment foundation. So I think now they're going to focus increasingly on making the yuan, the Chinese currency, the currency that they're going to trade with. And that's going to be a really important focus going forward, not only for China and Russia, but also, for Iran. And I think other countries in the region are also really looking in that direction. So, but that's going to take some time. So, but, over the next 5 to 10 years, potentially 15 years, I think we may see also a strategic shift in the global currency, strength of the US dollar, with more and more countries, particularly countries linked into China's Belt and Road, structure, really linking up with the Chinese currency more and more, and potentially building a digital currency and strengthening that platform. It's also going to be, I think, important for China's links to Iran, to Russia, and other countries to circumvent, potential also US sanctions, which are just increasing as we see. So, these are some of the considerations and calibrations that I think are going on. But most importantly, the strategic agreement reached between China and Iran is a true game changer. And this is the definitive entry of China into the Middle East, including Iran into the broader One Belt, One Road strategy. And this is just going to broaden up a range of infrastructure corridors across the Middle East, across South Asia, to China, across Central Asia, also having Russia on board. So this is really going to broaden the infrastructure, industrial, financial landscape between these countries going forward. So thank you so much for joining. I look forward to seeing you next week.